What is going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and today we're here breaking down for you the Pekka Bobat. This is going to be everything that you need to know about the Pekka Bobat. Here we're going to break down each of these replays to hopefully give you guys an example of it. And also, remember guys, to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you guys don't miss any of my educational Clash of Clans content. And don't forget to use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champs shop to save 10% off of your purchase. So, let's go over the things that you need to know about the Pekka Bobat. For one, this strategy works on a lot of different type of bases, whether it be more spread out, it can work on more compact bases like you see here. There are a lot of dead zones, which it is going to make the pathing a little bit, very difficult to kind of predict, but as long as you make sure that you have a solid funnel set and you're able to send in your Pekkas and bowlers in the base and get a ton of value, that's what you should be looking for. So, what are you looking for specifically when using this? Well, you are looking for any and all splash damage defensive buildings that hit air and ground, which means that you are looking for the most part, the wizard towers, the multi-inferno, and the eagle artillery. Does this mean that you're going to get everything? No. But another thing that you need to know is that you need to know where that town hall is placed. It's going to be very important because if you really don't know where the town hall is placed, if you decide to go ahead and place your wall wrecker up top this way, you're going to get no value. So you got to keep in mind on where that town hall is and hit opposite of where the town hall is placed instead of, either like right here or right here where you're not going to break into a wall. But let's go and take a look at a good area where I would suggest you do it. So if you go ahead and you use the wall wrecker here and you take a look at the pathing, you can get to the eagle artillery with this. It's all the way on the opposite side. This definitely could be a fail if you don't get to that eagle artillery in time. But of course, you need to make sure that you still have a lot of Pekkas up on the field because the eagle artillery is going to prioritize them first, not the bats. So you need to make sure that you are taking down the eagle artillery as quickly as possible. The other thing that you see in terms of the pathing here is 2 multi-infernos. You can get a wizard tower here. You can possibly get this wizard tower and this wizard tower. All that would be leaving you there is to then just send your bats in like this and go for the other wizard towers, and you should be able to be completely fine with the free spells that you are going to use. Now, you can use an Ice Golem like you see in the army composition. An Ice Golem is a great way in terms of tanking on top of a wizard tower. For example, something like this, you can drop in an Ice Golem and it's going to basically tank for the bats. So that's why it's very, very important to identify that, to bring an Ice Golem. It's really nice to bring, especially when you are either charging into a single Inferno or when you want to tank for your bats on top of a wizard tower. So what you're doing typically is you want to create the funnel on either side. What we're doing is we're funneling this area and this area out. What we're basically trying to do from this is get good pathing to send our wall wrecker and Pekkas right into the base this way. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to keep these bowlers in the base, so we need to make sure that they're going with everything, not moving on the outside, and sticking with the entire kill squad. And you'll see that as we're starting to move through, we do have the rage spells there in order to get through everything. We even have a warn ability to get through stuff like the multi-infernos, single infernos, maybe even the clan castle as we move through. And that's one thing that I would suggest, is using the warn ability right over the wall wrecker as well in order to protect it against a single inferno. You want to make sure that you are getting through. So if you fear that your wall wrecker is going to pop early, bring a jump spell like you see right here, or using a jump spell because we did fear that that was going to pop open. Now, we're going to be starting our bats very early, so what we're doing is we're dropping the Ice Golem over to this bomb tower. If we take a look at it here, the bomb tower is in the radius of the wizard tower, meaning that the Ice Golem will tank. So as we're kind of moving everything through and we're getting closer to that eagle artillery, we're making sure that we're able to get these bats to go through. The bats are taking out the wizard tower that was already being tanked for. Now, keep in mind that you do need to worry about one thing and one trap only. The tornado trap. And you see right there, the tornado trap will destroy your bats with ease. Very, very important to keep in mind, as if you don't get rid of it, then it's definitely going to spell doom if your P.E.K.K.A.s and bowlers find it and the bats are in range of it. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. But in this case here, look at all the bowlers we had left. Very, very powerful, very just completely overpowering on this base. And it gives you guys a really good example of how you guys can use the Pekka Bobat attack strategy. Doesn't sound too hard, right? Definitely very, very simple, very basic. And just to give you guys those really big things in terms of understanding it, you can use this against singles. Keep in mind that if you are going to charge in, make sure that you're either using an Ice Golem or make sure that you're using your Warden ability and bring a jump spell for the back end to keep your bowlers and P.E.K.K.A.s moving through the base. Now to give you guys a second example, this one is going to be dealing with a single and a multi-target Inferno. Now don't worry though, you still don't need to worry about singles, especially if it's not in range of your wall wrecker, but you still want to make sure that you're protecting your P.E.K.K.A.s and bowlers. As an example here, let's take a look at where that Town Hall is. Let's draw a line on a good area, so kind of like this. If we attack from here, what can we get? Well, if we kind of, actually, let's kind of fix this up a little bit. Let's hit from here. If we hit from here, then what we're going to be able to open up is this Inferno compartment. We're able to take this down with the Queen Walk, because that's what we're going to be seeing here. We're going to be able to take this down, and then we're also going to be able to take down this Wizard Tower, and that is really going to be a ton of value right there. So that's what you should be looking for. You need to draw that imaginary line in any area and say, how much value do I get? Do I get the Inferno, at least one of them? Do I get an Eagle Artillery? Do I get a couple Wizard Towers? If so, awesome. That's really good value here for this attack. Now this is where we would be using P.E.K.K.A.s and a Queen Walk to create one side of the funnel. So what we're going to be seeing here is using a P.E.K.K.A. on one side. This is going to kind of carve out this area so the Queen walks this direction here. So what we're going to be seeing is our Queen is going to walk this way, taking down the Wizard Tower here. And what this is going to allow us to do is drop in another P.E.K.K.A. to create this part of the funnel. And then we can send in our Siege Bear, or send in our Wall Wrecker to go through. So that's exactly what you should be doing with this attack. Now, of course, you do want to be patient with your Queen Walk. Make sure that you're getting enough value before you actually start going ahead and using those healers. You do want to make sure that you do place in those healers, especially if there's an air defense on the outside. Make sure that you are using the healers right after that air defense gets taken down. So you can see right here, we're moving right through the base. We've got the rage spell, we've got basically everything kind of moving through. We even have the Warden ability that was used in order to protect those P.E.K.K.A.s and bowlers. As we're moving through, we're dealing with each and every single part of this. We're dealing with all these Wizard Towers, the Eagle Artillery. We're dealing with a lot of defensive structures here, including that Eagle. You can see that's going to get picked off by the Queen. And you can see that we've almost gutted the entire base here. Notice that, again, we are bringing in the Ice Golem. You'll see that it's going to be used again over here in order to tank for the Wizard Tower. So if we select it right here, you'll see that that Wizard Tower is going to be on top of the Ice Golem. So as they're moving through though, making sure that they're able to get through the base, using the freeze if necessary. In this case, I don't think it was necessary, but keeping these bats alive is definitely very important. And notice that the tornado trap did go off, and that allowed him to make sure that he's able to get right through the base just fine. Hopefully though, that this is kind of gives you guys another really good example of using the Pekka Bobat. Definitely something a little bit different, something very, very interesting, and definitely very, very good to use. So if you're seeing one single, one multi, definitely would be really good to bring. Just make sure though that you're doing your imaginary line to really take a look at where would be the best area to kind of enter into the base with your Pekka Bowler kill squad as you move through. And this one got a ton of value, cleared almost the entire base without even needing the bats. Now you may already notice, this is something a little bit different. Not using the Wall Wrecker and instead opting to use the Stone Slammer. Now this is going to be an example of if the Town Hall is in a bad spot for your Wall Wrecker, this actually might be a little bit more worth it because you can use the Stone Slammer for the second multi-inferno. You can bring 2 ice golems in there, or you can even bring a siege barrack and put that right behind everything else, because what you're trying to look for, like a base design like this, is bounce value. You're looking for bowler bounce value, for skip value basically. So again, remember that what you're trying to do on this is you're trying to create that pathing. So you want to funnel out either side of the base here. You want to make sure that the P.E.K.K.A.s and bowlers all move into the base. That is extremely important. You may also notice the use of the jump spell and the use of the super wall breaker. What we're going to be doing is using a super wall breaker like you see here to break open into that first compartment. Once we've got a clear funnel set and everything's starting to move in, we'll drop in our bowlers and everything is going to start moving right into the base, along with the healers behind and the warden. So as we're moving through, we do want to make sure that we're dropping in a jump, dropping the rage, and making sure that we're popping that warden ability to protect everything as they start to move into the base. We want to make sure that these guys are staying protected because the bounce value is incredibly important when you are using this attack. Now, as you're moving through, you should have that slammer for kind of the adjacent side. To get to this multi-inferno, you're going to be using the blimp there. Now, let's pause it right here because you may have already noticed that we're dropping in the bats. Bats are definitely something very interesting. We already talked about the use of the bat wave. Now we're going to be talking about a bat bomb here. The idea of the bat bomb is we're dropping them right on top of a wizard tower. Like you see here, they're going to overwhelm that defensive building. So what we're going to be doing is basically overwhelming that. You'll see that the bowlers are going to take care of the eagle, no problem. So you don't need to worry about the eagle with the bats. So as everything is kind of moving this direction here, we have the bats that are going to take down the Tesla farm. They're going to be able to be on the back end and take care of the rest of the defenses, like you see here as they move through. That's really all you need to know about using no wall wrecker and instead using the Stone Slammer. Something a little bit different. You guys may be very interested in this style. The Bat Bomb is definitely a good one. You're not using a rage spell. Typically you will, but in this case we're not, because we have to use more spells for the P.E.K.K.A.s and bowlers. We have to make sure that they're able to drive through. The reason, again, that we decided to use no wall wrecker was because there really wasn't much good value, especially with the eagle right here and with the multi-infernos here and here. Kind of made it a little bit more like a pick and choose. So it's definitely something to keep in mind and be very aware of. But as you're kind of moving through, though, you want to make sure, again, that you're looking at where that town hall is placed, because that is going to determine whether or not you're going to be using this variation or if you're going to be using something else. So definitely, if I were to suggest anything, this one's a nice one, especially if you can get some really good value from the Super Wall Breaker and the Jump Spell. Now we got the final one here on this really interesting base design here, and I think what you guys should be trying to really get away from this is that even though an attack may look like it's going to thin out and it's going to be over, you got to make sure that you are really kind of looking at the attack. On this base here, you know, you've got a triangular style of the 3 key defenses, and the wizard towers are all fairly spread out. Another big thing is that you now also have to worry about that expo farm. So there's a lot on this base that can really spell trouble. Let's say, for instance, these 2 were single infernos. Definitely it was going to be a little bit harder, but maybe not too hard, because there isn't a lot of splashing. You'd probably just send your wall wrecker straight this way. You would be tempted to do that, but you want to make sure that you are still getting rid of at least one of the multi-infernos. Maybe the queen will pick off the other one. Definitely, there's just a couple things that you kind of need to think about, but it's still going to be fairly the same thing. It's a little bit different, but it's definitely something that is very important to kind of watch here. So you see, there's a lot of expos, and they're going to do a ton of damage. So that's the reason why we're going to be using the Ice Golem with the Wall Wrecker. This is something that I've mentioned before in the past. Totally something that you need to know is if you're charging into a single or a area of high DPS, using an Ice Golem is going to protect that wall wrecker. So keep that in mind as you're going through. You want to make sure that there is as little damage to that wall wrecker as possible, especially if you're starting to move into the base and it's not even breaking into any compartments. That's what you need to do. In this case here, we're trying to get to that Eagle Artillery compartment with the wall wrecker. We did use the Warden ability a little bit earlier in order to protect everything as we moved in. We protected the bowlers, we protected as many of the Pekkas, but you'll see that again, we're kind of moving around that other multi-inferno, but we'll easily take it down with no problem, as the queen kind of moves her way here to take down this multi-inferno here. So as kind of everything is moving through, it does kind of look like it might be a fail here, but we are going to take advantage of the tanking of the Pekkas and the Yeti from the wall wrecker and send in our bats this way. We want to make sure that we're able to kind of get through the bottommost section of the base. But this also does mean that we may also need to freeze up the Eagle Artillery in case the bats are the next thing that it's going to target. And like you see here, they are going to target the bats. So unfortunately, our bats do kind of thin out, which is super unfortunate. But it does allow us to kind of get through some of these defenses on the outside here with the queen, and of course with the Pekka and the Yeti. So definitely what I would tell you guys in this one is that no attack is over until, of course, it just looks like it's going to thin out and it's not going anywhere. In this case, you still have Pekkas up, you still have the Yeti, you still have quite a bit left up. The only issue though was, of course, nothing went for the Eagle Artillery, and we had to use the freeze on top of that, or on top of the Eagle, in order to take that down. So definitely, unfortunately, it didn't really go as perfectly to plan, but it was still a really good attack, and it gives you guys an idea of how to hit those weird base designs and get as much value as you can. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, remember to leave a like on the video, remember to subscribe, and ring that notification so guys don't miss any of my educational Clash of Clans content. Don't forget to go ahead and follow me over on the social, on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure that you guys are following me over on Twitch, as that is where I'm going to be streaming, so definitely make sure that you guys are following me over there. And also don't forget, guys, to go ahead and join any of the clans I cover within the game of Clash of Clans. Make sure that you're joining their Discord servers in the description below if you're looking to get into competitive play. Also, feel free to go ahead and join my community Discord server, and don't forget to use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champs shop to save you 10% off your purchase. Thank you guys so much for watching, and that is going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.